was 3 years old, we moved to Watertown to a 3-bedroom apartment. And of course, my parents had their own bedroom. My 3 older brothers had a bedroom, and then I shared a bedroom with my sister. I didn't really like that arrangement. And so every night, my parents would put me to bed in my sister's room, because that's how we kind of saw it. It was the girls' room. And then as soon as they left the room and went out into the living room, I get out of my bed, and I go into my brother's room, and I climb into bed with my brother Kevin. Did this pretty much every night, because I didn't want to be, as I said, in the churros room. I wanted to be with my brothers. And the amazing thing was, every night, my brother Kevin, when I'd walk into the room, he'd just simply lift up the sheet, the blanket, and let me in. And it wasn't really a big bed. In a lot of ways, I was a really big inconvenience for my brother, and I know that. And what I was asking now, I recognize, was really somewhat unreasonable. Yet, every night, my brother did the same thing. I'd walk in, he'd lift up the covers, and I'd get into bed with him. Many times we can kind of look at what Jesus calls us to do as being, well, somewhat unreasonable. Really, well, inconvenient. I mean, think about it. He asks us to do some pretty amazing things. Starting with, to be his disciple, we'd have to take up the cross. What's that all about? Why should I have to do that? Or, well, bless your enemies. Pray for your persecutors. When we hear these things, and as he tells us to love our enemy, we have to ask ourselves, do you really mean that? I mean, let's be honest, that goes beyond inconvenient. But ultimately it gets to something really so important. What Jesus is calling us to do is to love unconditionally. And yeah, that can be inconvenient at times. It can be uncomfortable. Now, unconditional love does not mean that, say, you're in an abusive relationship. The last thing you should ever do is stay in an abusive relationship. If someone has harmed you deeply, it doesn't mean you have to want to have that person in your life anymore. That's not what unconditional love calls us to. Rather, it calls us to seek what is best for the other, to pray for them, to hope that their hearts open to the Lord and that they find healing in their lives. Unconditional love is not about even if you like the person. It's that you will love them, not how you feel towards them, but how you will choose to act towards them. The truth and the reality of what Christ is calling us to is such a profound gift also. Because quite frankly, it is a lot easier to love than to hate. It takes a lot less energy. It's a lot easier to seek the good than the evil. The problem is, at times it looks like the other is true, particularly when we get caught up in it. But the way of the cross, yes, it's narrow and it can be rocky, but we never walk it alone. When we seek to fall into the trap of the world where we allow hate and anger to take control, then we're out there by ourselves. When we choose unconditional love, the way of the cross, the narrow and rocky road, we always have a companion on our side. someone who's carrying the cross with us and at times for us, who helps us when we might fall down and lifts us up again. The companion on the journey is Jesus, the uncomfortable thing he's calling us to. He never asks us to do it alone. And yes, at times it again may feel inconvenient, uncomfortable. But the best thing we can do is be willing to sort of lift up the covers and simply allow ourselves to love the other. Because when we do that, we always know who the companion with us is: Jesus.